Hello, welcome everyone. Trying out a new mic today, so please let me know if you hear me okay. Hang on. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome. I'm warning you, this is just plain. I'm not teaching today. I'm trying some things that I wanted to try. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm really trying to be more intentional about doing some crafting for me. And I thought, why not do this so that we can all chat at the same time? Because crafting with others is always more fun. I just have some things that I want to play with. I'm not sure if I'll complete anything, but I've got a lot of fun things I wanted to play with. In fact, yesterday I had about a half hour and I started playing with some new products, and I was so giddy about the results that I just set it aside and said, I'm going to show this today. So welcome everyone. So this will probably be a couple hours unless something happens. A kid needs something, I don't know. It's going to be very casual again. So grab some supplies. A couple hours. May have to take a bio break in the middle of that because I tend to drink way too much water. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Are you all crafting today, or are you having to do something else while you watch? I hope you all are finding some time to craft. Yeah, I'm trying a new mic because I get up and move sometimes and you can't hear as well. So I got the mic that Christina has. So thank you, Christina, and hoping that it works well. Okay. Yes, I will start out by saying that the things that I'm thinking I'm going to use today or play around with are in my description. Or if you look at the pinned comment, there's a link. Mike will put it in the chat too. There's a link for that says live in the link. And when you click it, a whole, like a list, thumbnail pictures of all the products will pop up. So it's easier to find things than in the list in the description below. I think that's a lot easier. And in that, if you go to that link page or that live page, at the beginning, it'll show you about a free gift offer that's exclusive to me right now if you want to check it out. So be sure to, Mike, can you put that in the comments? He's going to put it in the comments now, but it's also pinned in the comments and is in at the top of the description below. I'm thinking it's there. Let me check.
Yeah, there's a bag.
Yes. Okay, so everything is in the two places, but I do recommend going to the link that's like jmink.me/live, because there it'll have pictures, which are so much easier. Uppercase live. Just put that link in there.
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, I thought you put this down. Okay, anyway, welcome everyone. I'd love to hear what you're crafting. I know some people love lives and I know some people don't love lives, and I get that. I try to keep my lives all to crafting. So while I'm playing, I would love it if you hit me up with questions. I'll probably share some things, and while I'm doing some of the more tedious things, I can try to answer as many questions as possible. So thank you for being here. Okay, and Mike is here. Poor Mike on a Sunday afternoon. I will have to admit too, at like 1:57, I ran upstairs because I realized I still had my hard pants on from church. And I'm like, I can't craft in hard pants. So I ran up, they were jeans, which I call hard pants. So I ran upstairs and put on pajama pants. So yeah. Do you remember the name of the person who sent this?
Kathy.
Kathy. Look at what Kathy made me for my craft room. Soft pants only, no hard pants allowed. So hard pants are anything that are not pajama pants, sweatpants kind of thing. So soft pants only. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I hope you have your soft pants on and some crafting to do. I thought I have a few things that I plan to use today. I'm hoping to use. Yana, my friend Yana, she works for Spellbinders, and she has a new collection from Spellbinders that's fantastic. In fact, Yana went live earlier today at noon, and it was her first time going live, and she showed a look at her new release. So if you missed her live, I encourage you to go check that out. I will try to add a link to it in the comments, or if somebody's watching that can link to Yana's live from earlier, that'd be great. She showed some of these products, and this is, some of the stuff is what I was playing with yesterday, and I'm like, okay, I got to stop and share it with everybody. So I'm hoping to use some of that, and then I'm also hoping to do something with the Concord and 9th telephone. It is so adorable, and so I did some of the die cutting yesterday and thought I'd put it together today. Okay. All right. Yes, Yana is wonderful. Yana is one of my favorite crafters. Not just because she's so stinking talented. She's pretty too, which is kind of annoying to have that much talent and beauty, but she's super sweet, super funny. And I haven't seen her in a few years, but every time I'm with her, I enjoy it. She's an amazing person. And the stuff she does for Spellbinders, she's just spot on. She's fantastic. So let me switch to, oh good, Diane's in her pajamas. Betsy, you better be in your pajamas, friend. Betsy's one of my local friends. Anyway, this is let me just show you some of the things from Yana's new release. This is all in the description below. Hey Mike, is it possible to go overhead without me in the corner? I don't think people want to look at me.
That's to the...
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, you don't want to look at me. Okay, so this, she has a new collection. I think it's called like Let's Celebrate. And there are some different products in it. Now, I don't have them all out here, but I just wanted to show you the ones that really caught my eye and that I wanted to play with today. First is this Peony background. It is a press plate. And I've been using a lot of press plates in videos because there's so much you can do with them. I will demonstrate this with BetterPress, with foiling on a Glimmer machine, and I will demonstrate it with a die cut machine. So you're going to see a few different ways to use this. This is fantastic. And then there is this Floral Celebration press plate. So again, you can use it with the BetterPress system or with foiling. And then look at, there's layering stencils that allow you to add color to it quickly. So I may show this, and I don't know how much time I have. It depends on how slow I am, and I'm usually slow. I'm thinking about combining this with, let me get it over here, with this adorable Concord and 9th spring bunny. I thought it'd be fun to have like an oval at the center of this with that spring bunny, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, and then also from her, oh, don't put that over there. I'll never find it again. Also from her release, I did do some die cutting ahead of time with the Peony Celebration. Yana has a few different types of flowers like this, where it cuts an outline and the pieces, of course, in the center. And then there's a shadow die. So this is what the die, look at the detail that the die cuts, and you can inlay color. So I was thinking about, I cut this already with adhesive on the back. I'm thinking about inlaying some color. I don't know. I've got lots of ideas on the brain, but you know, you never know what is gonna pan out. All right, so I wanted to show you what I discovered yesterday. That's fantastic. Is it Mother's Day in some areas? Okay. Happy Mother's Day. I hope that you're here because your kids are all about letting you spend some time crafting. Come here. Well, it's not Mother's Day here yet. And then there's Lila. Lila's Mother's Day is Lila's birthday here. So, but our Mother's Day is her birthday, right? So she may join me for some watercoloring because she did yesterday. Yeah. She did this yesterday. Well, let me get a panel made. She did this yesterday. Isn't that pretty? I'll get a panel made for you and you can do the watercoloring, okay? So one of the things that I discovered yesterday that I really wanted to share there. Hey, Mike, can you scroll it up so I can see the fresh comments, the newer comments? I don't want to miss things. Okay, one thing that I discovered yesterday is a lot of people ask about what cardstocks you can use the BetterPress system with. They sell a cotton cardstock that's thick that works really, really, really well. I also found yesterday that this Altenew hot pressed watercolor paper works well. I used this when I did when Jen Raza from Altenew came on my channel on, I think, Thursday to teach me how to watercolor. It was super fun. If you've never watercolored before, if you're intimidated by it, watch that video. She did like a great beginner watercolor tutorial for me, and we both were painting at the same time, and it was really what she did great. So I had this cardstock from that, and I thought I'd do some watercoloring with this because I was inspired by that watercolor. And I discovered that this hot press cotton watercolor paper works well with the BetterPress plate when you use the BetterPress system. But you can use whatever. Since I planned to do watercolor, I thought I'd use watercolor paper for it. And you could probably use any watercolor paper you may have. All right, so I see some questions piling up. Mike's saving the questions. I promise I'll get to them. Oh, Lila's saving. Lila's saving the questions so that I can come back to them. Okay, so this is the BetterPress system. It's to be used with a Spellbinders Platinum Die Cut Machine, or you can use it with like the Intracut from Gina. I think it works with some other machines too. If you go to the Spellbinders website to their BetterPress page, product page, it tells you which machines are compatible. So on this clear platform, I guess, I'm taping a piece of this watercolor paper right at the center. Just any temporary tape will work. Then I'm going to use this BetterPress plate and place it right in the center. Now there are BetterPress inks out there, okay? There are inks meant for using with the BetterPress, but I found a lot of different inks work well. And I want to try watercoloring this. So I am using the Altenew Obsidian pigment ink. I think you can watercolor with the BetterPress inks, but I thought I'd go ahead and try and use this today because I know it works with watercolors.
When are you going to do the questions?
I do the questions like when I start painting or something. Like Lila asked, when will I answer questions? Yeah, I know there's a lot of questions, but let me get started first. So I'm going to ink this up. You just kind of dab the ink on. This is an Altenew Obsidian Black pigment ink. Is a great dark crisp black. It's a pigment ink that dries pretty quick. It's a fine pigment ink. And I'm just inking this up. And know what's cool about this plate is you're going to get the reverse. The background will be black or whatever color you use to ink it up. So you could ink it up with a light color, a dark color. Yana is known for her dark backgrounds with bold color on top. And so this plate's great for that. I saw, is the surface of the BetterPress magnetic? Yes, that gray grid where I put the plate is magnetic. It'll hold it there. So if you leave that plate there, and you leave your cardstock attached to the top clear plate, you can repeat the process if it doesn't, like if you didn't ink it well. But watch this. Let's hope it worked as good as yesterday. Look at that. Look at that. So okay, come on, focus, pocus. So if I had stamped that with a background stamp, I would probably have to stamp it a few times to get that much solid black. But because the BetterPress is pressing the plate into the cardstock, it really pushes that ink onto the cardstock and leaves it behind. And you get unbelievable detail that you wouldn't get with the stamp. Isn't that gorgeous? So it's got a little bit of a letterpress feel to it, but the detail is what just blows my mind. Isn't that gorgeous? All right. So that is the, what is it called? Peony background from Yana over at Spellbinders. It's all linked below, but that's a BetterPress plate. I'm going to set, so, I mean, isn't that beautiful? Yes. So here you can see this is magnetic. It's kind of hard to move the plate, which is good because say I did that and didn't get a complete impression, I could have just repeated the process and it'll land right on top of what we've done. So what I do to remove it is I just take a magnet and pull it off. All right, so yes, this is magnetic and it's a good magnet, so it's not gonna move unless you really work on it moving. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna clean this now because I wanna do some other things with it. Lila, give me some of those questions while I clean, because I don't like to clean.
So let's start from the top.
Okay, what's the first question?
I signed once to be okay. I don't know.
Okay, somebody said I signed up once to be part of a de-stash sale, I think. Yes, every Thanksgiving I put up a post. By the way, this is just water and a dry cloth. Every Thanksgiving I put up a post on my blog where you can leave your name if you're interested in a de-stash box, which is hundreds of dollars worth of product that I no longer need to use. And you get the opportunity, whenever I have a box ready, I'll contact somebody who left a comment and then and see if they're interested in buying one of those boxes for $100, but the $100 goes to a charity. So it doesn't go to me. we randomly contact people. So if your name is in the comments on that Thanksgiving post anytime throughout the year, anytime we have any products ready to pass on, we will contact somebody randomly from there. Mary, hi Mary, the magnet here, these are magnets that come with my glass board work surface. I have it in the description below. It's a magnetic glass board and these magnets work on it. I don't use them a whole lot to hold things down, but some people do. But whenever I need a magnet, it's really easy to grab.
Don't put them together.
Yeah, don't put them bottom to bottom. Okay, somebody asked if the BetterPress plates like this can be used on, and the BetterPress system can be used on a Big Shot. Apparently they can. I don't have a Big Shot, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the Gemini either. I just know that it works with the Platinum like I just demonstrated and the Gina K Intracut, which hopefully will be back in stock soon. Okay, so let me show you another thing that you can do, and I'm hoping that I cleaned this well enough. I think I did. Who wants to clean? Clean schmeen. My son just texted me, what's for dinner?
Somebody said I don't usually comment on nails, but holy smokes, Jennifer.
Oh, aren't these cool? They're press-on nails. I have them linked below too because I knew somebody would ask. Hey Mike, can you text Colin and tell him what our plans are for tonight? Yeah, my son wants to know what's for dinner.
Okay, here's a few more. Ready?
Hold on, I'm gonna do this. I gotta do some foiling. Lila's on me to answer all the questions. The difference between Letterpress and BetterPress. There's really no way to get a full letterpress at home without a big fancy letterpress machine, which none of us have. So what it gives kind of the look of letterpress, but with the BetterPress system that's used with the die cut machine. So you get a little bit of an indentation left behind with this. But I'm going to show you in a moment how you can get an even more intense impression with that plate. So I'll show you that in a moment. Yeah, Kay, I should say, what are you making? Well, I had been telling him all day, because we're going out to eat and going to a basketball game tonight, and I've been telling him that he should go with us, and he kept saying he had plans. Well, now he wonders, I guess he doesn't have plans, so. He's a good boy. He's appreciative, so I'm okay with him asking. But I do think it's funny. And the funny thing for me is I don't do the cooking, so why he's asking me, I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. Gemini machines have way too much pressure, so no BetterPress can be used with them. So I think mostly with the manual machines. Okay. So I also wanted to show you, this is a BetterPress plate, which I refer to as press plates. You just saw me use it with the BetterPress to get this result, right? Well, the nice thing about press plates is that they foil beautifully and with more detail than most foil plates. So I'm finding when I want to foil, I'm just reaching for the press plate because it can be used for many things. Is Yana here? I think Yana's here. Yana, I was just telling how impressed I am by you. All right, so I just this is just smooth white cardstock. I used Hammer Mill for this, but you can use whatever cardstock you want. And I've got a piece of Spellbinders. This is the Aura foil. It is the most ostentatious of the foils. It's gold with iridescence to it. But I find it's a very forgiving foil. Like, it's the easiest to foil with for some reason. I don't know why. So I'm placing that foil between my paper and my plate. And my plate, the pretty side of my plate is touching the pretty side of the foil. Yana's here. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to put this onto this gray surface here, which is hot. And then we're going to put the top on it, the two top plates, and press timer. And we're going to wait for that timer to stop flashing. So you do not need a BetterPress to use press plates. You can use it for foiling like I'm doing here with my Glimmer machine. This is the Spellbinders Glimmer machine. It also works with a Platinum machine. But I promise I'm going to show you a third way to use press plates that gives a really deep impression. I'll do that next. But first I need to wait for this to tick. Yes, I'm glad you all caught Yana's live. Yes, I'm hoping she will join me for a live sometime. I think we'd have fun together. All right. So the timer's going here. So again, this is a Glimmer machine. And there are other hot foil machines out there. This is just the one that I have the most experience with. And what it does is it provides the heat to either a foil plate or, as I'm doing today, a press plate. And then you take out the plates when the timer's done and you run it through your die cut machine, which applies the pressure. And that will give you a beautiful foil look as long as I did it right. And again, you can use your press plates to do this. So I think we're going to see more companies doing more press plates because they can be used for both as opposed to just foil plates, which can't be used for both. Yay, Yana's here. Okay, so the timer stopped flashing. That means it's ready. I tend to give it a few extra seconds because especially this is a big, big plate that I want to foil. So I'm just giving it a few extra seconds. Jana's here? Oh, Jana, hello. I hope your knee is well. Oh, good, good. Hi, Jana. Okay, so now I'm taking out all of these plates and I'm going to run it through my platinum, and this just puts the pressure on it. I think you can use a few other die cut machines with this. I know you can use the Gina K Intracut. You just want to check Spellbinders information about it. And now we can take all of this off. This plate will be hot, so I'm going to set it aside. All right, now let's see if it worked. Oh, look at that. Look at the detail. Let me hold it up close and see if it focuses. Is it focusing? Look at that fine detail. More detail than you can get with a foil plate. Isn't that cool? So again, with the press plate that's meant for the BetterPress system, you can use it with the you can use it with the BetterPress system to get this look, or you can use it with your Glimmer foil machine to get this look. Isn't that beautiful? Question, is the heat up time for BetterPress plates the same as a hot foil plate? Yes. I just always leave it a little bit longer. Somebody asked, oh, do you have the solid plate right now to do the reverse image? Dave, I sure do. Look at this. I have this right here. I'm wondering if you could use the back of this. Do you think you can? Should we try it?
Yeah, do it. Okay.
Well, first let me just explain. This is a solid hot foil plate. This one's from Pinkfresh Studio. And what you can do is take this leftover foil and foil with this solid plate, and it attaches it to paper, right? But I'm wondering, since it's just big and flat, I'm wondering if I can use the back of this. Should I try it?
Yes, sure.
Okay, this may not work, folks.
Bite the bullet.
Okay, Lila's telling me to try it. Normally, if you want to be sure to work, use this, not the back of this. But I'm going to try this. Let's try it. Okay, Heidi's brave with me. Okay, so this is the back of the BetterPress plate. I'm going to try to use the leftover foil on that. Okay, so let's see how we do this. You know what? I'm just going to put it on here. I don't think I need to tape. So this is I have the back facing up. Hey, if we're going to ruin something, might as well be mine, right? I don't want you all trying things at home. This is that leftover foil. So I'm going to put the pretty side of it against the solid plate. And now a piece of cardstock. I'm getting nervous, folks. And then putting the plates on top. All right, and now I'm going to press the timer. I will tell you, yesterday, you know how I told you I was so giddy? I did the foiling yesterday, just like I demonstrated, and I got this. And I did use the leftover foil with this solid plate, and it worked beautifully. So you see how you get the reverse? So this is with the BetterPress plate used to foil, and this one is the leftover foil with the solid plate to use a leftover. And you can see you still get beautiful detail. Beautiful. I am not sure what it is about press plates that foil so well. They're magic. I don't know. There's something magic about it. So I'm hoping that more companies will come out with press plates. Janice asked, will it put an impression on your Glimmer plate? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Will it leave marks on the gray part? I don't know. Good question, Tracy. Now the timer stopped.
We're about to figure it out.
The timer stopped flashing. I'm going to give it a few extra minutes or a few extra seconds because it's such a big plate. Yes, this may leave marks, in which case, don't do it at home.
Don't.
Lila's telling me not to drink all my water because I have to go to the bathroom.
No, I just don't want you to spill it.
The good news is I bought another Glimmer machine, so I have a backup just in case. All right. All right, let's try this. All right, so I am trying to foil with the leftover foil with the back of the BetterPress plate. Let's see. Yana's probably out there going, oh, Jennifer, don't do that. Let's see, because Yana's the expert. Let me take this off first. Well, no indentation, but what I have is some of the ink came off because my plate, I didn't really clean it really well, but there's no indentation. No indentation. So once this is cooled, I'll probably just use a bit of water. I don't want to use anything harsh on there to clean that off, but no problem.
Let me know when you want to answer questions.
Opal is great for tone on tone. That's true. I'm going to turn off my Glimmer machine and put it away because knowing me, I'll burn myself. All right, let's see if it worked. Oh gosh, the pressure, the pressure. It didn't work as well. Okay, so what I would recommend doing to make this work is to put an extra piece of cardstock shim in there. It looks like all it needed was a little more pressure. So if I would have done if I do this again, I probably would have gotten it all to transfer if I had put an extra piece of cardstock shim in there. Okay, but I did yesterday, I don't want to spend the time to do it again. I did yesterday do it with the big press plate, and you can see I got great results. This is the reverse.
Somebody said, how did you just touch that without burning?
Okay, I can touch things without burning them because I'm ruthless with my hands. It's just what yeah, so if I would have added a shim, it would have worked. But I do recommend this because a lot of plates don't have a big background like that, a big solid background. So I do recommend getting a solid plate like this so you can use that extra foil, and you would get these two from the one piece of foil.
Mike's eating again.
All right, Mike always eats. Okay, next, let me show you one more way to use this. All right. Now I'm aware that this isn't really clean, so some of that ink might get left behind when I do this demonstration, but that's okay. It needed, Mike asked if it worked. It needed another, it needed a shim. It needed like a cardstock shim.
Maybe because the other side was not solid.
Well, the other side was solid enough. This is solid enough. I think it just needed the shim. That's my guess. Will water clean it, Tanita? I'm not sure. I'll find something to clean it, something mild to clean it off. Honestly, I don't clean things. Who needs cleaning? All right, let me think about what I need to do next. Let me try this. So I've shown you that with a press plate, you can use it with your BetterPress system, which was that black pressed in image. You can use it with your foil machine. And you can use it to make an impression. So let's do an impression. Who's here, Mike? Somebody's upstairs. Nobody should be here today. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make an impression with my die cut machine. Sorry, I got flustered. I hear somebody upstairs. Okay, Janine, if just coming in, I'm just playing. I'm playing with things I wanted to play with. This is just kind of a free-for-all. Yana says you can use the back too, so yes, I just needed to add in a shim. Or maybe I didn't give it enough time to heat up between. I don't know. Maybe we'll try it again later if I have time. Okay, so now I want to show you that with the plate, you can also make an impression with your die cut machine. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my platinum, and I'm following the instructions for embossing with a die or making an impression with a die. So all die cut machines should have a flexible mat. If it doesn't come with a flexible mat, there will be one available. Sometimes it's sold separately, but most come with it. The platinum comes with it. So this flexible mat allows you to impress with a die, or impress with a foil plate, or impress or emboss, dry emboss, with a press plate. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I have it set up to the sandwich to make an impression or emboss with a die, but I'm going to press into cardstock with my BetterPress plate. I just cleaned up my drawers and I moved things around. Okay, what I'm going to do here, I just have regular cardstock. This is probably Concord and Ninth. No, what is it? Yes, it's Concord and Ninth Blueberry. All right, I'm going to mist both sides with some water. Not sure if it's going to make much difference, but I think Yana says to do this, and everything Yana says goes, right? So now I'll take this. Keep in mind, some of the ink that's on here will probably come into my cardstock. I'm just demonstrating. I'm going to place that flat down, down, whatever. And then I'm running it through my die cut machine. Caitlin asks, what inks can you use with your BetterPress plates? I'm finding that I can use a lot of different inks. My favorite to use with the BetterPress plates are the Altenew fresh dye inks, but I've done it with other inks, Concord and Ninth inks and so on. And today I used the Altenew Obsidian black pigment ink, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment. All right, so look at that impression that you get. I'm going to heat set this just so some of that water that I misted on it kind of goes away so you can get a true result. All right, now let me show you. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, keep in mind, this has a lot of solid area and a lot of detail that's close together. So you get the impression, but some of the other BetterPress plates that have more openness to it, you know, will give a deeper impression because there's not as much solid and close together detail. Does that make any sense? But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The Empress comes with a flexible mat like this, so you can do this with that too. Isn't that gorgeous? Yes, I think you can use archival. But Spellbinders does have a BetterPress ink line that's really great for the BetterPress. I just am lazy and I grab the inks that I like, you know, that are right here. I have used Gina K inks with it. They work great too. And remember the nice thing, maybe I'll demonstrate it again because I think this is important to see. Let me demonstrate again. So did you all see how beautiful that is? So we have 3 things we did here. We used the BetterPress with black ink to get this. We used the foil machine to get these. And then we used the embossing mat to get this, all from a press plate. Okay? As far as foiling, Jackie asked, what do you need a specific cardstock? You can use any cardstock, but if you want the most forgiving cardstock of all time, it would be Hammermill. I'll see if Mike can add that to the supply list. Yeah, the Hammermill that's in my link deli. Yeah. Make sure it's the right one. That one. Okay. All right, yes. Oh, and Spellbinders has a Glimmer cardstock, and that's like foolproof too. It's really anything super, super smooth foils well. Even glossy cardstocks, like gold glossy cardstock or matte cardstock, foils beautifully. Mona, hi Mona, it's good to see you. Okay, let me do the BetterPress again. I just want to demonstrate something you can do. One of the things I love about the BetterPress, I'm telling you, a lot of great products come around in our industry. I'm going to get some ink while I talk. Some great products have come around in our industry, and really this is about, I feel like is a tool, another tool like a die cut machine or Glimmer machine that just is going to have a lot to offer. So Spellbinders came out with a BetterPress machine, but then they teamed up with a bunch of other companies to come up with press plates. So Pinkfresh has press plates, Altenew, Hero Arts, a few other companies. And so it really gives us more use for our BetterPress, but as you saw, you can use it in the other 2 ways too. All right? Okay, I'm gonna use that same Altenew watercolor paper simply because it's right here. And I'm gonna tape this right onto the plate here. Press that down. Okay. Yes, glossy cardstock works really, really well for foiling. I don't know. So I'm going to have Yana on. I don't know if Yana's still here, but I think I'm going to have her on, and maybe she could do like a tips and tricks for foolproof foiling, because she's a pro, man. She's the best. She's very inspiring. If you do not follow Yana, you need to subscribe to her YouTube channel. You need to follow her on Instagram. Her cards are so inspiring. She's great with color. especially bold backgrounds, and then add color to it. So I'm inking this up with Ride the Wave, which is a really bright dye ink. You could use whatever dye ink you want. I'm just demonstrating you can use really any ink. I've got my paper here. This kind of causes, there's magnets in the corners that cause that plate with the paper to kind of be raised up over it. It's not touching the inked plate until it goes through here. So now let's run this through. Goes through very easily. All right. Yupo paper, you can foil on Yupo paper. Yes, Yana is amazing. Okay, look at that. One pass through.
Dang.
It's unbelievable to me. But let me show you what you can also do. Let me make sure I don't rotate it here. Hang on. Make sure I don't because I think I flipped it when yeah, okay. Now say you did it and you didn't ink very well, like you didn't get a good impression. It would be because you didn't ink it well. You can see it's pretty foolproof. Say I missed some inking somewhere. You can ink it up again. I'll just put some ink on here. Or you could do multicolor. So you could ink up the top of the plate with one color, run it through. Then ink up the middle and run it through. Since this is magnetic, it's holding it there well. Since this is taped here, it's going to be in the same exact position. Unless I mess it up somehow. But you know, with people watching.
I have a very important question.
TJ said, the BetterPress was a big investment for me, but I'm astonished and addicted. I am too. I am too. All right, hang on. There you go, right on top of each other. So if you find you don't get a great impression the first time, you can do it again. This is Ride the Wave.
Somebody said that ink matches your clothing.
Oh yes, I love the Ride the Wave from Altenew is an Amy Tan ink from the Amy Tangerine line. Why am I doing this on here? That's not smart. She has beautiful colors. Her Tickled Pink is a great pink. The Let Us Celebrate is a great green.
Tickled Pink is probably best.
Yeah. So now I can clean this off. All right. Isn't that plate gorgeous? So now what's neat about this is if you want a background to be colored, any color you want, light or dark, with flowers right on top of it. You know, you could get that by using, maybe stamping some flowers and stamping some flowers and then die cutting them and then putting them on a dark cardstock. But if you die cut them, you'll have that white trim. And so it's nice to not have that. So there's two different versions. I'm going to use the black. Now I did this black impression. I'm going to start this and then I'm going to give it to Lila to finish. Can you use tape? Can you use tape your cardstock on any side of that acrylic plate? Yes, this plate here is reversible. So either side, they both pop on with the magnets. Yeah, I get it. There are so many different things to try, so many different products. The reason I'm showing the BetterPress a few times is one, I love it. I think it's fun. I do a lot of crafting, so for me, when something new comes along, I get really excited about it. The other thing is I see it as foolproof. It's really hard to not get a great result because of how the system works. Another reason is I feel like there's a lot of detailed designs coming out. And another is Spellbinders is a really good company. I don't know. So I was really excited when they came out with this. Yeah, let me get started on this. And then I'm going to pass it over to Lila.
Oh, I was about to ask when I can order it.
Can you, yeah, you're going to do some water. Can you,
24 questions.
Lila just told me, she whispered in my ear, 24 questions. I guess I'm behind on answering questions.
Okay.
I'll be right there. Hang on. Let me can you fill this with water, Lila? Oh, here. I'll just use my water here.
Please don't spill.
Somebody asked, when do you replace your magnetic mat or, like the magnetic plate with the Empress? This is the Empress machine is an electric die cut machine that I like, and these are the only plates that you need for it. This is what I cut into. I replace it after a long time. You can see this is well loved. I don't think you need to replace it often. If I find it's not cutting as well, that's because this kind of flattens slowly after months and months of use. You can add the metallic shim that comes with the machine under there, get more use out of it. You can use this for a long time. So I don't change it often. Can you do a 5x7 on the BetterPress? Let's see what size this is. I know they have some big plates. Let me see. This plate is 4.5 by 5 3/4. So this would look nice in the center of a 5x7. And you can see they have marks here for 5x7, like to help you line it up. Okay, let me put this aside. I'm just going to show you what Lila's going to do because she's going to watercolor, but I'm just going to get it started. So if you were on that live that I was just talking about let me pick a color out. Let me find a color before I start blabbing here. If you were in that live with me Thursday, it was my last live that I did. Uh-oh, blue ink everywhere. If you were in that live with me on Thursday, I went live with Jen Raza from Altenew, who is like an amazing artist. And she taught me like the easy way to watercolor and all the basics. And it was mind-blowing for me because I'm very intimidated by watercolor. Well, it got me kind of interested and a little addicted. So I thought I would continue with that, but instead of using like watercolor pan, I'm using the watercolor markers from Altenew. I saw somebody say that magnetic plate is sold separately. You can buy just that for the Empress. So there's your answer for that. Okay, so the watercolor that I'm gonna do on here is these Altenew watercolor brush markers. And if Mike and Lila don't let me forget at the end, I have 2 sets here I'm going to give away to people at the end. So if you want a chance, just leave comments in the chat and I'll be picking, yeah, Lila will pick 2 people to win these because I found I had 2 extra sets. So why not pass them on? These come in a bunch of different color sets. The one I grabbed from is the Winter Wonderland set, but I'm sure Lila will use a bunch of them. So I did this, if you remember, if you were here at the beginning, I did the press plate on watercolor paper because I planned to watercolor. And I used Obsidian black pigment ink, which I learned is great for watercolor. So you don't have to even heat set it. It's great for it. I'm sure there's other inks that would work. Was anybody in that live with Jen and I that I did with Jen on Thursday? Oh, sorry if I made a noise. It was fun. And Lila did some watercoloring after it too. So these are watercolor markers. So the watercolor's contained in there. And I'm going to try something. I have no idea if this will work. Oh, no. See, here's the thing. When you watch a video or live from me, I usually try things out ahead of time because I don't want to waste your time. But today I'm wasting your time. This is how I normally play. And that's what today is all about. Yeah, you could, if you don't have watercolors, you could take a dye ink pad, press it onto a piece of glass, and then pick it up with some water. Okay. So I think I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm going to get, this is the ruby red. I think I'm going to put some, just scribble some down in the areas where I think it would be the darkest. And of course, I'm not doing well because I'm shaking because I'm nervous to watercolor with people watching because I'm not good at it.
Yeah, there's something.
Yeah, well.
The question, the paint is in the watercolor brush.
Yes, the paint is in this watercolor brush, but what I'm going to do is I've got a thing of water here. I have a apparently dirty, large, this is number 5 watercolor brush from Altenew, and I'm just going to kind of blend that out a little bit. I'm sure there are 1,000,001 ways you could do this, but this is what I was going to try and see how you can kind of blend that out. There we go. I'm not using the right words. Can the watercolor pens be refilled with more color? Yeah, I think they sell refills for them. So you can just go and drop more color down in a little area. Now you could color this however you want. But the point of this is I used that BetterPress plate, and now I'll end up, once this is colored in, I'll end up with lots of color with a black background, which I think is really cool and impactful. So you can add coloring to all of this. You could skip, let me just show you.
Mhm.
The lid was off. Lila's laughing at me.
No,
Okay.
not you.
Okay.
I'm smiling at a comment here.
The other thing you can do is watch. You can go in, this is the ruby red, put some ruby red down here, and then come in, this is the like blush or something, and I'm gonna blend that out and see how I can use two colors together. And so that's a little, if you struggle with the water added, you can use this as an easy way to blend. I find it easier than like Copic markers, and you can go and add more dark if you want. So a lot of ways you can use these. Lila's gonna go over there and start doing some painting on here. And then what we'll end up with is bold color surrounded by the black. You know what? Lila, do you want to do watercolor or just blend with the markers?
I don't care.
Because I did it again. I really like this look. What do you like, Marianne, nothing is easy. No form of coloring is easy to me.
Somebody said you were the goat.
I'm the goat. If you guys only knew. I think you see it though here when I try to take a cap off of a pen when it's not even on there.
Somebody said they would love to see what I made.
Look at that. That's pretty. That's a pretty way to color it. That's easier than... anyway, there's one way you could do this. Isn't that cool?
Like that. Yeah.
I just love this plate.
I'm not going to be able to do that, but I can try with this.
You can try.
This is what I made yesterday.
She did this yesterday. Isn't that pretty? That is Altenew watercolor pan set in a Pinkfresh image. Lila did that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so she's going to color this. Lila, you can color it however you want. I'm going to do another one later and color it in, and I'll share it on Instagram when I finish. But I want to show you some other things too. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, you could use, another thing you could do here is ink blend over it and just have like a rainbow ink blending. That would be cool. Maybe I'll do that.
What paper you are using?
This I just happened to use the Altenew hot press loose watercolor. All right, Lila, if you're going to paint, you're going to have to go over, not near the computer, because if you're like me, let me just move this real quick. I will come back. Another thing you can do, like on this one, on these foiled ones that we did, you could use Copic markers on it, but let's do just blending. So I could do this over that BetterPress image, but on here I think I'll do some ink blending.
Your lab's about to go downhill. Mike is going back to his job.
Uh-oh, Mike's coming back to his job. Hold on, I got to get an ink stand and some ink. This was not part of my plan. All right, I've got my ink stand here.
What colors do I use?
Whatever you want.
Oh, I have the power.
Yes, you do.
So I can literally just use
Yes, you can do whatever you want. Or you can use those markers. They're in your hand. Okay, here's the two I was using, if you want to use those. Okay, I'm just going to do some ink blending on this. So this is, I told you Amy Tan has some great colors. This tickled pink is like the brightest pink of all time, and I just love it.
It's so pretty.
So let's do, it's super bright. I'm going to go really intense over this. I might even go dark. Maybe I'll go darker even. So you can see this is right over the foil. So this is where I use that press plate to foil. Look at that.
I don't know what colors I want to use, so do you guys have any ideas on what colors I should use?
Lila wants to know what colors she should watercolor, if you all have, for the rest of this. So we got some red already. What other colors? If you have Zig Real brush markers, they're very similar to the Altenew watercolor ones. I feel like they work the same way, but I feel like there's more liquid in these. I'm not an expert on these kind of things, but you could definitely use them for this. All right, let me get another color here. I think I'm going to add some dark color to that. Let's see, let's add like a purple wine. This is just Altenew regular. Let's do some dark on here. Yeah.
Mike, can you go back to the questions?
Okay. Mike just says, now I have two bosses.
Do you make the inside of the flowers darker and the outer area light, or vice versa?
Okay, so somebody asked, do you make the inside of the flowers lighter or the outside of the flowers? Listen, here's the thing. I am not, hold on, let me think about what colors I'm going to do here. I am not great at shadows and highlights and all that, I recommend looking at Christina Werner's work for that. I tend to do dark towards the center and the back leaves, and then lighter towards the highlight where the light would hit, like the edges of the, or I'm sorry, the petals, like the edges of the petals or like the top of the flower. But you know, I don't think anybody who's going to get this card from you is going to say, hey, you did the wrong, you know, shaded the wrong thing. Just, I feel like just add a little variation here and there.
Okay, I'm doing pinks, yellows, and purples.
Okay, pinks, yellows, and purples. That's what she came down to. Mike is a good sport on a Sunday too.
Okay,
that's okay. I'll take him to dinner and buy him a beer.
How does somebody do that?
That would probably be Jen or Tasneem. Jen and Tasneem are the owners, or the co-founders of Altenew, and they are true artists. So look at that. The foil resists that ink we're putting on top. So the BetterPress, like image that Lila's coloring in, you could do ink blending over that and it'd be super, super fast too. I'm just doing it over the foil since she's doing that. Let's see, what other color do I want here? Let's do that Ride the Wave because that's just so pretty. Now the key to, where did my blue brush go? I'm sure it's sitting right in front of my face. The key to blending is overlapping colors. So you can see the purple comes down pretty far, but kind of lightens. And then I'll come in with my blue over that.
Did you use the worm something?
Yeah, I've used some of those before. They're fun.
Yeah.
So if you're like me and you struggle with like control when you're doing watercolor with lots of water, those brushes are quite handy. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to trim this down because a lot of times things look better when they're trimmed down. Yeah, most people, yeah, I see some people leaving comments. Most people do like darker centers, lighter on the edges because the edges is where the sun hits. But listen, I'm not good with that kind of stuff. I don't know. Unless it's something, unless you really enjoy getting it right. For me, I don't. That's not like the joy of it. Oh, Sherry, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. So here, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yana, you hit it out of the park with this press plate, and I'm begging you to do more. Isn't that gorgeous? If you want, now I use that Aura, I think it's called Aura. I said thank you. The Aura is gold with iridescent to it. If you want something a little more subtle, you could do a gold matte. The Spellbinders gold matte foils really well too, and that would give you a little less pizzazz, I guess you would say. Oh, Laura, thank you. Mike, thanks you. Yep. I'll buy him a beer at dinner. Our high school team is going to like some big tournament, and it's like in a big stadium tonight, so we're going out to dinner and then going to watch the game. Isn't that fun? Is Yana still here? Because this is just gorgeous. And remember, I have this version too that I did with the leftover. So if I ink blend over this, the background will be colored and the flowers will be gold. And how quick that would be to put a bunch of those together. And all you have to do is add a sentiment. That one blends in too well. What I would do here, let me show you what I would do here. Oh. So this is funny. This is the container. This is the bag that I would take to my son's baseball games. And I haven't emptied it since the last baseball game. I've taken things out of it when I needed them, but that was last year. Well, baseball season starts this week. So now this bag is back out. Let's see what I've got in here. In here I had used, I don't think I have the die set handy, but I used, it's Simon Hurley. Simon Hurley did a line of sentiment dies with Spellbinders called Everyday Sentiments, I believe. And it's a bunch of words. There's shadows and the words included. And I went ahead and cut a bunch out. So here's a bunch of hello cut from black. And then there's the shadow and white. And I was gluing these together. What I do is at the game, I will sit with this on my lap so I can put the lid on it if I need to get up and hide when my son's pitching. And I'll keep one of these in it, a little Gina K Connect in a fine tip bottle. So that way I'll have a bunch of sentiments ready to go. So let me put all this back in. Look at all these, man, I got lots. All right, this is a great set. So I have these hugs that are already cut. It would be fun to do right down the center of this, maybe put on a white card base, maybe you could do 1 hugs, but I think it might be pretty with 3 right down the center. Maybe a white trimmer on the edge. So this is where it's really handy to have a shadow, because if you just put, let me show you why I'm a big fan of die sets that have the shadow included. The shadow die included is, if I just put like the black die cut on there, it gets lost a bit. It'd probably be okay. But by having that white shadow on it, it'll stand out. So see, it would be pretty with a white trimmer on the edge. Hi, Jeff. Jeff Lindbergh's here. Lila and I are going to go see Jeff soon. Okay, so there we go. The first thing I wanted to play with. We're an hour in. Ay vey. Okay, let me see what else. Well, let's do this one too. Let's do a little bit with this one. This is also from Yana. Yana did not ask me to do this. I texted her and asked her if I could do this. Okay, so this is her Floral Celebration press plate. So remember, with this press plate, you can make an impression with the BetterPress. You can make an impression with your die cut machine and the embossing mat, or you can foil. I think this would be beautiful foiled, but I turned my machine off already. Maybe I'll turn it back on. We'll do it all. Why not? This one will be faster because I've already done it once. Oh, can somebody please share? Brianne, are you there? Is Brianne out there? Can you share a link to Yana's channel so everybody can see her amazing work? All right, we'll do BetterPress last. How about that?
Which, these colors, was it this color?
Both. The one on the top, sorry, hang on. The lighter one, I just used a lot of water with it. I wouldn't go over that until that's dry though. Okay, let's just do an impression here. All right, so again, this is a press plate that's meant for the BetterPress, but I'm going to do an impression with my die cut machine. So I have my embossing mat here. Let's do it with another piece of this blue because I already have it. This is just for demonstrating. And this is like, I told you, like the reason I'm going live on a Sunday for a few hours just playing with things is I'm trying to cut back on work, but I'm also trying to make sure that I play in crafting still, just have fun playing. And I thought, why not do it online? While you're all at home playing, we might as well be online together playing. And I'm not doing a great job at answering questions, but I promise I'll get there. When I do some stenciling, I will. So a lot of what I do is off screen, playing with products, seeing how best to use them so that I can teach the best I can on all of my videos. So this is the playing that I normally do off screen. Figured why not do it with you. If some of the products are sold out at Spellbinders, check Simon Says Stamp. I know they had some too, and I have both linked below. And if you're shopping at Spellbinders, check out, sorry, I'm gonna stop here. Check out their sales category. I have it linked at the top. They have so many good things on sale. They also have a weekend event coming up called The Weekender. And it's, I think, 10 teachers teaching classes. You get the products, and I'm going to be a special guest on it where I do projects that mix all the different products together, and the products are so good, so good. So there's information about that below. There's also information on a free class I'm doing on the Spellbinders YouTube channel in a couple weeks. So lots of things going on. I know I'm doing a lot of events, but I love doing events now, and I think it's good for companies, and I feel like it's good for the community. So if you go to the top of my list, I also have a link to my events page that shows all of the events that I'm part of. So if you are, hearing a lot about a bunch of different things and you want to see how they all compare, but Spellbinders always does the best of everything. So the Weekender is going to be really fun. Okay, So I'm going to go back to this. I'm misting. This is Concord and 9th blueberry cardstock. Any cardstock would work. I do like misting it first. This is a press plate, but I'm going to put it down on my cardstock with that embossing mat below it. Following the sandwich, my die cut machine says to follow for making an impression or embossing with the die, but I'm using a press plate. You can also do this with foil plates. And you can also do this with any machine at all. Look at that. Oh, that's, okay. I would argue this is better than an embossing folder because the detail that you get from it. Like, I don't know many embossing folders could get that kind of detail. You see that detail of those leaves? You could use either side. You could use either side on this. Totally up to you. Isn't that beautiful? So that's a press plate used with a die cut machine. So you don't even need to have a BetterPress machine with it, unless you want that detail, like stamped, pressed in look. Isn't that gorgeous? And another thing, because I'm here, so what the heck? Hang on. Another thing you can do, oh dear, she's going rogue. Isn't that gorgeous? No, me. This is my Altenew grip mat. You can use whatever grip mat you may have. I put this top thing on here. I shouldn't keep it on here because it's always so hard to pull off. Ooh, so I should really not. Instead, what I do is I actually stick the back side, which is got that grid on it, into my cabinet door. And then it doesn't get dusty in there. But anyway, you could use any kind of grip mat. Let me show you what you can do with this. Let's pray I can find the ink. Hang on. Uh-oh. Well, you know what? I'm going to use this one because it's right here. So this is Gina K white pigment ink. You can use any white pigment ink for this. I just wanted to show you something fun you can do. Yeah, there's a trash can right over there too. Okay, now something you can do, so isn't that beautiful how it's raised? What you can do if you want this to be stand out more, there's a few things you can do. You could have inked this up before you did the impression. The ink won't give you a super detailed result like the BetterPress will, but it would give you dark ink or lighter ink if you use white in that impression. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is take a brayer. This is the Tim Holtz brayer, any ink. I'm using white here because I want it to be lighter. You could use a dark blue to make it stand out. And you can roll this over it. And what I like to do is take a dry cloth and just kind of buff it, and it kind of softens, and it gives the raised area a softer look than the background. So that's one thing you can do. Isn't that pretty? Another thing you can do is on the back, do the same thing. So there you could do, and now the raised area has the white.
What color is
So isn't that fun?
those?
It's the same, that ruby red with lots of water.
Oh, it's really red.
All right. Question, do you think it's the special coating on the BetterPress plates that makes impressions so much better? I think it's the special, I don't know. But I think there's the special coating that's on the press plates is what makes it foil so well. That's my guess. But the impression, the thickness, something about these, it's just magical to use in so many ways. Oh, I didn't ink this up. I inked this up, sorry. All right, let me clean this up and I'll show you the more things you can do with that. What are some questions here? Do you think, oh, no, I got that one. I'm having trouble choosing events because there are so many right now. What do you recommend? Oy vey. Okay, that's hard. I recommend going for events. I recommend going for the events that company style is something that normally like grabs your attention. So like for Spellbinders, if you really love die cutting, chances are you'll really like the Spellbinders event. Altenew would be good if you like classic florals. That's a good one. Concord and 9th's event is like a fun event and has a good mix of a lot of different things. Most of these events, the products included, and so you want to choose one where you like the kind of products. Also, I really recommend looking at each of the event pages because some events will show you a peek at what products are included, and that can help you make the decision. I know Altenew now has on their event page pictures of the products so you can actually see what's included. I think all companies do them very well. Some are a little more fun and playful. Some are a little more serious. I don't know. I enjoy them all. I think you really need to just consider what style you like. Cindy said her Platinum 6 is very hard to crank. Is it okay to leave the shim out that goes on the top of the thick bottom plate? Yeah, I don't think you need to use a shim unless you have a tricky die. I never use a shim on any die cut machine unless there's a tricky die, because you don't want to put extra pressure if it's not needed. It'll just wear out your machine. Patty asked, do I prefer a press plate over a Glimmer machine? Oh dear. Are you asking me to pick between my children? Because one's right here, I can't. They're different. They're different. Press plates are great because they work on both the Glimmer and the BetterPress system. But as far as which I like better between the BetterPress system and the foil system, they're just very different. If you like the look of foil, Glimmer's a great option. If you don't like the look of foil, BetterPress is the better option. So now that you have plates that can be used on both, it really goes down to if you like foil, the look of foil, or if you like the look of like just a pressed in image, detailed inked image. Jennifer asked, would ink blending a background first, then the BetterPress with that Peony plate work? Yes, it would. I found that the BetterPress, I'll be right back, hang on. The BetterPress works really on any paper. I will say that if you use the cotton paper or watercolor paper that's kind of thicker, it will give you more of an impression. It'll be more noticeable than if you use regular cardstock, but you'll get the detail no matter what cardstock you use.
Okay, where do you find the Empress magnetic plate by itself?
The Empress magnetic plate by itself, you can buy on the Anna Griffin website. I think Simon Says Stamp has it too. All right, let me foil this. Hi, what happens if you foil the BetterPress plate? Is it ruined? I don't know. One person told me it might be. One person told me it didn't. One person told me they foiled it and it messed up their plate. One person told me they foiled it and it didn't mess up their plate. All I recommend is never, whether you're using a foil plate or a press plate, when you're foiling, never put the foil this way on it. Always make sure the pretty side of your foil touches the pretty side of your plate. Then you won't have to worry about it. In fact, on my old machine, I had a little, I had it written right here. Pretty side of plate touches pretty side of foil, so I never made the mistake. So here, I've got the pretty side of my plate facing up. Pretty side of my foil is gonna go onto it. And then I don't have to worry about accidentally foiling my plate. All right, so I'm gonna put this on here and put the timer. So I'm using a press plate to foil again.
I think my green light on the Glimmer didn't come on and I waited a long time. It's brand new. Has this ever happened to you?
That has, I have not had that happen to me, Teresa. I would recommend reaching out to Spellbinders. They have an excellent customer service. I'm not sure. I've never had that happen to me. Rita asked, for events, why can't we see peaks of products so we can know what we're getting into for the high cost? Totally get you. Totally get you. I think most companies show peaks now. I know Concord and 9th does. I know Altenew does. Spellbinders just announced their weekender. The information's below. I've seen stuff from it and it's really good. If you like die cutting stuff, it's brilliant. But maybe they'll add that. Some companies, the product stays exclusive to an event, like Concord and 9th. You can only get that product in the event, which makes I mean, the product's always good in it, so that's enticing. Some companies will sell that product once the event is over, sell it to everybody else. So every company does things different. Every company is trying their best to kind of figure out these events and the best way to do them. I think all of them are trying their best to provide a good experience and also build community. So I love these events. I think they're fun. I was hesitant because of the live teaching aspect, but now I think the friends you make in these events, like in the little comments and stuff, it's just really fun. Okay, so the timer, but you can put the question off, Lila. I'm gonna now take this through. So this put the heat on it. The Glimmer machine put the heat on it. And then a sneak peek. It's supposed to be P-E-E-K. Sneak peek. All right, let's see if this worked. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. It's beautiful. All right, I'm gonna set this aside, let it cool. And now this time I'm gonna do this. This is the solid plate. I'm gonna take my leftover foil, place it on there. Let me get some more cardstock. Hey Lila, would you mind getting me, filling up my water for me?
By the way, I don't like what I made over there, so.
That's okay, it's all practice. It's okay. You've never done it before. Okay, not those markers. Okay, so pretty side of the foil. This is my leftover foil. Pretty side of the foil is touching the solid hot foil plate. Then I'll put some cardstock on top. And this, when I'm using the solid plate, I'll set the timer and let it go for a while. So I'm just gonna set it aside while it really gets warm. I have the solid plate linked below. I should probably put a shim in there. I'm gonna put a shim in there just in case. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, is this cool enough? Yep, this is cool enough. Let's now make an impression. What color ink do you guys want me to do an impression here with? Any votes out there? Can you use the BetterPress plates with the Glimmer machine? Yep, that's what I'm doing today. So this is a BetterPress plate meant for the BetterPress system, but I'm using it with the Glimmer machine to foil. Erica said, I always struggle with the full plate. You know, it happens. It happens. Sometimes it won't, sometimes it doesn't foil well. A little shim sometimes helps. Leaving it heat up extra sometimes helps. Sometimes it's moody, just like us. All right, dark purple. Erica said dark purple. So I'm gonna do, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me find it, hang on. Oh shoot, where is it? Well, this isn't really, well, that's not purple. Well, yeah, let's do this one. This is Altenew Crystal Violet, which is like a purplish blue. All right, so I'm gonna do, actually, hey, good idea. You know what? Let's do a few different colors. So I'm gonna do that there, pull that up there. I'm going rogue, I'm doing a bit of each, just to show you can. I'm gonna do a little bit of pink. Pink down there. Let's do some purple in here. I'm not taking a lot of effort to make sure this is covered, but you guys get the idea, right? Okay, so I've inked that all up. I have some, this is watercolor paper, which will give a nice impression. I'm gonna put this on top and then run this through. So it's the cardstock and the inked plate aren't touching yet, but as soon as you put it in here, it touches. All right. I have tried oxide inks with the BetterPress and it works well.
Which one is that?
What?
Question?
Oh, no, I was just stating it. Look at that. Look at that. So I don't think you can tell. There's a little bit of an impression, but such detail. And look at how that color is just pressed in really well. So it's more detail than you could get with the stamp with a lot less effort. All right. Question is, you used the soft plastic mat to emboss the plate with earlier. Is the mat intended to be used with the BetterPress system? So this flexible mat that you saw me make an impression with, it is included with most machines or is available separately. I know the Platinum, it comes with it, so that you can make an impression with a cutting die. It allows you to make an impression with a cutting die. So say I have, I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you. How about that? I'm going to set this aside. I think I'm done with the BetterPress in today. So far we have foil, BetterPress, and the impression. Let me finish the foil of the reverse and see if it works, and then I will show you how to make an impression with the die. So I'll finish answering that question in a moment.
This is a good one.
All right, we're gonna pray this works, folks. Ooh. Question, do you use the Tim Holtz scissors much anymore, or do you find you're reaching mostly for the Spellbinders scissors? I use both. In fact, around my house, we use the Spellbinders, or the Tim Holtz scissors all the time. So, I mean, I have all my Tim Holtz scissors right here still. I use them a lot. I've been using the Spellbinders shears. I gotta find somewhere to put this that won't. The Spellbinders shears a lot lately because they just cut super smooth, and they just, so what happened is I got them and I was like, I don't know that I need more scissors, and then I used them and I'm like, oh man, those cut so smooth. Anybody who has these will agree with me, and they come smaller too. There's the smaller ones, which I just found in my stash, so I'm gonna try to use them some. So this is what I did with the foil, or the solid plate. Oh, it worked. Look at that. Did you see that? Oh gosh, I wish somebody was here to go get it. Lila, you're supposed to get giddy with me. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher's here. Hi, Christopher. Can I use acetate in the BetterPress? I've never tried it. You know what? I'll try that off screen and I'll let you know. I'll let you know in my next, if I show it in my next Sunday Crafternoon, that means it works. Okay, so now look at all of these options that we have from that press plate. So I think I'm going to use this one. I think I'm going to use this one. Christopher and I think we're going to go live. I think I'm going live with Christopher Allen tomorrow. Yes, Roadrunner said you liked my happy dance. You all, a lot of times people say, you sound so excited in your voiceovers. It's because this stuff floats my boat. I enjoy it. I get excited when something works, something new that I try, or I get excited when like somebody brilliant like Yana comes up with amazing products that are easy to use. And it's just, this was my hobby before it was my job. So I still get giddy by this stuff. When I was an engineer, I was never this giddy. Let's be clear about that. All right. Yeah, the Spellbinders scissors are incredible. Okay, so I'm using the foiled one. I could have used any of these, right? I'm gonna use the foil one. Uh-oh. Oh, wait, I forgot I was gonna show you. I'm not sure what time. Christopher and I need to set that up. I forgot. Somebody had asked about that flexible mat with the embossing, the flexible mat that comes with the die cut machine. So let me just explain this a bit more. So this is an embossing mat. Sometimes they're like a brown color, sometimes they're black. I know the Intracut has one. I think the Intracut's one is black, but most machines come with one. This allows you to do what they say is emboss with a die, okay? I call it making an impression because emboss confuses people sometimes with heat embossing, but basically it's just making an impressed image. So when it says how to emboss a cut shape, a die, you follow this sandwich. Every machine has a sandwich in their manual, but you always use this. And by using this flexible mat, it allows you to make an impression with a die and not cut. Hi, Libby. Libby and I need to go live together too. The problem is Libby and I are both introverts and procrastinators, so we haven't scheduled it yet. But we, someday. Libby's one of my favorite humans. Can you clean your Empress magnet plate in the dishwasher? I think you can. I think I've done it before, but I don't really usually find a reason to. Okay, regular heavyweight white cardstock. I'm going to mist both sides with some water. And then this is the Peony celebration die that Yana just came out with. Keep in mind, this is a pretty intricate die to be doing this, but it's the one I have here. So I'm going to put that down. Remember, there's a flexible mat. Because that flexible mat's under there, this die will press into the paper, emboss the paper, make an impression, whatever you want to call it, instead of cutting. So I'll run that through. Oh, Tammy said, while you're feeling brave, how about trying a foil plate in your BetterPress? I am not going to do that, Tammy, because They tell you not to. And I want to figure it out, spend some time figuring it out before I show it, because I don't want to show something that will result in anybody trying it and hurting their BetterPress. So I will do that later. All right, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So that somebody asked earlier, I think it was Sharita, asked what this mat is for, this flexible. This is what it's intended for. Taking a die and pressing it in and doing this embossed or impression look. Well, you can do that same thing with foil plates and with your press plates. So that's what I've been doing with press plates before, but look at, you can do it with your dies. So remember, a lot of the things I show you, you can do with other products. You think, Lori said, I think I missed it. Do you have to use water to clean the BetterPress plates, or what else? They have I think they recommend cleaning with archival ink cleaner that Ranger sells, because their BetterPress inks are a type of archival ink, I think. But I have it, but I don't normally use the BetterPress inks. I usually use a dye ink. What I would do is use baby wipes. If that doesn't work, my go-to is Ultra Clean from Hero Arts, or a stamp cleaner, and work on it that way. I think this is a pretty tough surface. It's not like all it's doing is being a magnet, but I don't mind if a little, this has been here since the beginning of time. And I did that with archival ink when I was trying it. So I need to get archival ink out to try that. But like this up here, this die, this should come off pretty easily. Let's see. Yep, it's coming off. So I just kind of leave it. But here's a trick you can do. Let me show you this. Say you have a press plate. Hang on. I don't know where I put one. Okay, say you have this press plate and you want to ink it up but don't want to get this inky. There's a few things you can do. You can take, this is super thin plastic that I cut from a packaging that a stencil set came in. So super thin, right? I can put this down, put my plate on top of it and ink it. And that way, if I get ink on this piece of plastic, I can wipe it off and it won't get ink on here. And then after you've inked it on here, you can lift the plastic and be able to do this without lift it up without touching the inked side and place it down. Another thing you can do is take this thin piece of plastic, put it down onto your BetterPress surface, and now ink it up, and you won't get ink around the edges. It'll go on that thin piece of plastic. So that's why this piece of plastic I have just taped here in my BetterPress anytime I have, because sometimes press plates are tiny and they're hard to ink up. If you have ink cubes, they're fantastic for it. What about vellum with the BetterPress? I haven't tried it yet. I will try that sometime. But I think I'm gonna move on to something else here. Okay, next I'm just gonna ink this up real quick because I think it's adorable. If I can find the stencils, here we go. So I've got a sticky mat. This is a sticky mat from Altenew. It's their new larger one. And I've got my foiled background that I did with the press plate. Now I've got the stencils. These are Yana's. I meant to do this on colored cardstock. I thought that would be pretty, but that's okay. Over this one, this is the first stencil. I'm just using the pink ink that's still on my blending brush to get like a soft look. Keep in mind you could get really creative here, but I need to also do my telephones. I really want to do the telephones, and I'm going to run out of time. All right, so let me peel off this stencil. Gosh, that's the whole concept of stencils to color in images. Greatest thing in the history of the world. Well, maybe not, but close to it. All right, I still have some blue ink on here. Let's use that. I'm just using what I have close. All right, are there any questions? Hi, Mindy. Give me a question, love.
Let's see.
Just pop one up on the screen.
Do you think using my Big Shot instead of a Spellbinders die cutter is why my Glimmer foil never turns out right? I always had areas that don't foil.
Can you put that on the screen so people can hear it, read it, whatever?
Yep. It's on.
Okay. Do you think that because you're using a big shot is why the foiling is struggling? I have no idea. If Yana's still here, I don't need this. If Yana's still here, maybe she could tell you. But I will say this, if you're struggling with foil, my 3 recommendations would be, first and foremost, to get a super smooth cardstock and use that, like the Hammermill that Mike linked below, or Glimmer, or I'm sorry, Spellbinders has like a specialty Glimmer cardstock, or like a glossy cardstock too you could use. That's the first thing I would try. The second thing I would try is leaving it in with the timer a little bit longer. Like after the timer stops going, just leaving it there for a bit longer so that you can add more heat. And actually I have 4 things. The 4th thing would be to add 1 piece of cardstock as a shim, just to give a little more pressure, not too much. Then the 4th thing would be practice. I'm telling you, a lot of things just are practice. I mean, remember, crafting, when you see somebody do some things in videos, not necessarily today, but usually they practice it off screen too. I'm gonna get some green ink here, get my favorite green. These aren't necessarily the colors I would normally go for on this. I probably would have done, if I did this again, which I plan to do next time I get some me crafting time, I would start with a light blue cardstock like Concord 9th powder, which is a beautiful light blue. I would foil with silver foil on it, and then I would color in with these stencils using like just a light amount of blues and teals and greens. I think that would be really pretty. But I'm just kind of winging it today. So I did Let Us Celebrate, which is one of my favorite greens. I love it. Over this one, let's do another green. Got another question?
Let's see. This person said that they are pretty new. How can you tell when your big shot is worn out? It's only 2 years old, but when I didn't know any better, I used a lot of pressure.
Okay, how do you know when your big shot is worn out? Gosh, I don't know. I can't speak for big shots because I don't use them, but die cut machines. Die cut machines should really last you a very long time. In fact, I had heard somebody say that at some point you do need to replace it, but I don't think you should, unless you're doing like a ridiculous amount of die cutting. I don't know how to tell you. If you're struggling with cutting, you can always try adding a shim, but normally with a good die cut machine, you shouldn't need one unless the die is really intricate. That really didn't help. I'm sorry. I really don't know. I really don't know.
What's your favorite glue for large surfaces?
My favorite glue for large surfaces. I have a few favorites. First and foremost, Gina K Connect in a fine tip bottle. You just put a very thin line all over and it will hold. I have trust issues. Glue is like a boyfriend. You want to be able to trust him, right? So, should I say husband, since I've been married for 20 years? Lila and my brother just looked at each other like I'm crazy. I think we knew this though. So Connect is what I trust the most. However, I do, like if I'm gonna have like a big piece like that I want to, like maybe it has some warping to it, or I'm gonna die cut from it, Altenew adhesive sheets or waffle flower adhesive sheets are great to put on cardstock. That will cover the whole back of it, and then you can die cut it if you want. I don't use tape runner a ton, but there are some decent tape runners out there. Altenew double-sided tape is what I use a lot for interactive, or the lawn fawn. There's a lot of good options out there, but for me, Concord or Gina K Connect in the fine tip bottle is what I use for 90% of what I do, I would say. All right, look at that. Look how easy that was. And I did it with the foiling. So thank you, Yana. This is brilliant. So what I probably will do later, because I want to do the telephone still, is, as I showed you earlier, on this, I'd probably die cut maybe a pink oval and put it there, stamp a bunny maybe in gray, and die cut it and put it on it, and then stamp Happy Easter underneath it. So these are from Concord and Ninth. This is a spring bunny stamp set and die set. I just thought those would be cute together. And this is from Spellbinders. This is the, I don't know, no idea what it's called because I can't find the pocket, but it's in the description.
How do you store the round ink pads?
How do I store the round ink pads? Oh, so I am in love with these ink pads. I think they're fantastic. I like that the top screw on, but I've used the same ink organizers that I use for all my inks. They're from Organize More, but those are deeper. So what I did is I just cut cardstock and kind of turned it into a cube and put it at the back so it doesn't fall all the way to the back. And it works well for me. Okay, but if you can get an ink storage unit meant for distress inks, it would probably work for those too, because distress inks are small and square. Okay, so there's some BetterPress stuff and some foiling, all that. How do you know if your BetterPress plates need to be replaced? I don't think, Kaylin, that there would be any reason to replace them. I think they'll continue to work well. It's high quality. I don't think you'd need to replace them. I do think they might sell it, some replacement things, but I don't see why you would need them. Okay, I am going to next do some telephones. Why not? Okay, yep, let's do some telephones. So this is, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't tried this yet, so you're gonna have to bear with me. But this is the new Just Calling die set from Concord and Ninth. And Concord and Ninth, they make these, they're the stinkers. They make, there's always such good releases. And I wish they would have a bad release so I could not feel like I have to use it all, but they don't. So this was my favorite from their release. It came out yesterday. There's a bunch of things in the release. A lot of what I do like about Concord and Ninth is there's a lot of different things in their releases, so you can kind of something for everybody. But this is an interactive phone die set called Just Calling, and then there is a stamp set too, and you can use them together or separate. So I did some die cutting last night. I haven't tried assembling one. That's what we're going to do today, so it may not work. I did a bunch of die cutting because I loved the look of this phone and I want to make a bunch of them. So I got my die cutting done. So I have, these are Spellbinders craft stacks, I think they're called. They're containers. They come in this size. This is the medium. And then there's a large that's twice the size. And it is a tray, like you can see the thickness of the tray there. And then there's a lid. And I put tape on the lid so I can easily open it. But I like that there's a lid. I have so many trays that don't have a lid, but this lid holds on nicely. On these, I don't have the lid on them because they're all sitting over there on outside of camera. But the nice thing about these is these stack so nice. I did all these last night. Okay, so I did some different ones here. You guys are gonna have to tell me what color phone to do. So this one, I don't think I want to do that one. Let's see. Should I do a pool colored phone? A pink colored phone, cool. A gray colored phone, and then we could add other pops of colors, or a bright blue colored phone. So tell me which colors to do, and then we will start putting some together. Give me a vote down below. And while you're voting, I thought I'd show you the other set that I really wanted to use, but I'm not going to have time because we have to go to dinner after this. Let me just show you.
The first one we got was pool, but that's the only one we've got.
Okay.
Oh
Amarita, I love what you said. I like to say Concord and Ninth could sell me oceanfront property in Nebraska. Yes.
Oh, many pools and pinks.
Pools and pinks. Okay, while you take a guess. Watch them all. Oh, I saw blue. Oh dear.
Yeah, lots of blue.
You can look. This is cool. This is another product I'm not going to have time to use today. It's Garden Path Stamp Set and Stencils. This is from Concord and Ninth too. And what's really cool about this is there's a stencil that allows you to color the background, right? And then these all line up with it to color in the flowers, the flower centers, and the leaves. So when you use them, your entire cardstock will be colored with color. So if you wanted to, you could do like a black background and then have bright, bold colors on it, or you could do like a soft background and the bright, bold colors. And then this, it's called Garden Path because these sentiments, it's like a path going through the garden, and you can, and they stamp and fill in right there. So sending you so much love. See how it fits right in that stencil? This is what kills me about them. The planning that they do to, so anyways, I'm thinking, this is one of those I think I'm gonna make many of, because it's a great one layer card because all the stenciling and stamping can be done on that one layer, and have a bunch of them on hand ready to go. Hi, Megan. Okay, so what color was what do you think is the verdict, Lila?
It's blue.
It's blue.
Like 90% of the votes.
Blue, okay. Go blue. Now somebody's gonna ask me.
Pool, sorry.
Pool? Pool. Okay, so pool.
I didn't know there were two blues, my bad.
Okay, pool. I'm going with pool. Okay, so the pool color cardstocks, I know somebody's gonna ask. I think it is, I think it's Aqua Sky. Let me get these out of here. Aqua Sky, Lawn Fawn Tide Pool is the middle. And then the darkest, I think, is Concord and 9th Tide Pool. Or no, Oceanside. I think those are the three colors. I think this is Aqua Sky from Concord and 9th, because people are always looking for colors that go together well. And then this would be, I think that's Tide Pool from Lawn Fawn, if that's their newest color, if anybody's here knows, whatever their newest kind of aqua color is. And then the darkest color is Concord and 9th Oceanside, I think. I'm hoping.
Oh, this is a good question.
Okay.
What is your most layered stencil you've used?
What is my most layered stencil I've used? Most used. Oh gosh, folks, that's hard. Gwen, are you asking me to pick a favorite child?
Yes.
It would have to be, gosh, I have a list for my favorite crafty things of layering stencils, and I haven't put the video out yet, but there were a bunch in there. It would probably have to be, there was like a citrus layering stencil set that Altenew did. And it just was so easy to use. That's probably one of my most used, but I could see this garden one being used a lot because it's easy to line up. Anyway, I gotta think about that. So I've done some die cutting here. Again, I don't know what I'm doing yet, so bear with me.
This was a question from a little while ago. What is that large sticky mat called, and is it available?
The large sticky mat that I used is the Altenew 9x12 sticky mat, and when Mike gets back here, he'll put it on the list for you. I showed it for the first time. If you look at my last pre-recorded video, like not my last live, but my last pre-recorded video, I featured it in there and talked a lot about it in there. Okay, so let me show you what I've done. I've die cut all of these pieces. You can go to the Altenew, or to, I'm sorry, the Concord and 9th website. I'm gonna actually pull it up just so I can see. They have lots of examples of different ways to assemble these phones with different colors. It really makes it easy to do. But I did some die cutting. There you can see there's all these pieces to die cut. Then there's some funny looking pieces here, and so I'll talk you through those. There's also this stamp set. So first let's assemble some of our little phones here. Putting the phones together, I think, is pretty easy to figure out, but I'll just do it. I decided to do it on screen just so I can show you, but I plan to make a bunch of these phones later. I'll share it in my Instagram stories. That's usually where I share like things that I'm working on for fun. All right, so I'm just gonna glue. I am a double stamper and a double die cutter. I like to stack 2 or 3 die cuts together just for stability, but I don't think you have to do that by any means. Oh, I didn't do this part. I gotta do this part. So you probably don't need to do that. In fact, I may not. Hang on, let me find my Misty. The size, Leah asked what the size of these trays are. These are the craft stacks from Spellbinders. I think it's at the bottom of my supply list below. The size that I have here is the medium. I'm hoping they come out with more sizes. The large is twice that. Okay, so what I have here is a circle die cut. Let me just stamp it and then I'll show you what it is. Stay there. Okay. I've got a circle die cut here and I'm going to stamp the numbers on it. Good enough. Let me show you. So this, I use this circle stamp here. This is all Concord and 9th, just calling. It gives you the numbers for your telephone. And this die right here cuts the large circle, but then also gives you impressions on where those numbers line up. So you can see here, I stamped them right into those circles. Hold on, it'll take a second to focus. There you go. You see that? Isn't that fun? Tanita asks, how do I remember? Here's the thing, Tanita, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I can tell you any color of cardstock. It's not usually that helpful, but yeah, I don't know. I forget most other things. So, okay, so on this, now there are a few ways I think you could assemble this. I'm going to do it. I need to refill my bottle.
Here's another pick a favorite one.
This one's filled. Pick a favorite what?
If you could start your craft room from the beginning, what 5 products would you purchase first?
If I could start my craft room from the beginning, what 5 products would I purchase? I would purchase a good die cut machine, either the Spellbinders Platinum, the Gina K Intracut, or the Anna Griffin Empress. I would get a Misty stamping tool with the waffle flower grip mat in it. I'm counting that as 1. Glass work surface. Oh, crud. I'm assuming you have cardstock and stuff? I don't know. Donna, this is a tough question. I appreciate it, but it's tough. What else?
That glue really.
Gina K Connect in a fine tip bottle. That's what this is. Yes. Because
I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's trustworthy.
Okay, last one.
Oh, and then I would need a little vacuum, a handheld vacuum, because I make a mess. Okay, so I just assembled that centerpiece there. Now we've got our phone. I think I'll do that. I'm going to do that 1 thick. All right, so now on here, you can see how easy these are to line up here. Look at that. Bless Concord and 9th. Bless them for making this easy. All right, you got a question for me? What's the question?
Do you use textured cardstock from Watercolor? If you don't use textured cardstock, what is your favorite way to get texture to your die cuts?
So, do I use textured cardstock from Lawn Fawn? Donna, you are full of the good questions. I'm glad you're here. A lot of good questions. Good. Lawn Fawn textured cardstock is beautiful. I would, if I were going to, like, if I wanted just a little interest to a background, that would be a great one. You could also die cut with it. If you want to add a little texture to your die cuts, just a little bit, some things you could do is Gina K has what is called a Swiss dot embossing folder that would put little dots on it, just something subtle. You don't want something too distracting. Or a few videos ago, I think it was my last regular video that probably went up Monday or Tuesday. It's an Altenew video. They have a frayed or like a burlap BetterPress plate, kind of like the press plates I've been using. And I showed how you can do that over a background and it gives it texture. So you could use that on your die cuts. So those are some ideas. Yeah, the Tim Holtz trimmer and scoring tool is a fantastic tool too. That I agree. Hold on, I'm going to finish this and then I'll come back to questions. Hang on. So let's see here. I also need the hand set. This one I'm going to double up here. And so let me show you, this is the die set, and you can see how all the dies are there, and they're pretty easy to figure out what goes where. So I'm just gluing these together. I should have glued these together off screen to save you guys time, but again, this is just me playing and trying a few things. So yeah, the burlap plate from Altenew is just so cool. Mike needs to add that to the list too. Can you text him or call him down here? He's up getting a snack. There he is.
Come here, Mike.
He heard me talking about him. Can you add to the supply list the link deli, the Altenew 9x12 sticky mat and the Altenew burlap press plate. All right. Poor Uncle Mike. Poor not so crafty Mike. I'll buy him dinner and a beer thanks to, I forget who it was who gave the beer earlier, but okay. So now we have these pieces. We have a cord that we can add later. Let's continue with putting it together. So this is my experiment. A lot of times with interactive cards, interactive dies, I'll experiment with scrap cardstock and just put it together so I can get to know it before I actually use like all my effort and my good stuff on a real one. But so what I'm doing is just experimenting. I actually got these pieces of cardstock out of my scraps. Now what's cool about these dies, this is so smart. Ooh. Right here, it's hard to read because it's backwards, but when you die cut it, you can see it. I'll show you here. So when you die cut this, it says glue 1 and spinner. And you see how it says spinner on there? Nobody's ever going to see that, but it's helpful to you. And underneath this button, it says glue 1. Okay. And then it does this die right here that cuts a bunch of little circles that say glue 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you can see those there, right? So what you can do is cut those from whatever color cardstock you want. It doesn't matter, nobody's gonna see it. And you glue those 4 circles that you die cut together and you get this. It looks like a little pill. It's just a stacked circle. You want something firm like this. So you can take these circles that come in the die set, you can see I have a bunch of them here, and glue them all together and get this. And you can use that for your spinning. I wanted to try a button because I have so many buttons that I wanted to put them to good use. So you can either do this, that comes with the die, where you die cut 4 circles and glue them together, or you could use a tiny little button. You just want to make sure that your button you choose is smaller than the hole at the center of your phone. So see how it's smaller there? Or if you use this, notice that it's smaller than the hole on the phone. So you can use either. Like a Smartie candy, that would be good, Sheila. Okay, so you can use this. I'm trying it with a button because I like to try things, and I've got some buttons.
Oh, the
all right.
Ultra Sticky Mat is sold out.
The Ultra Sticky Mat is sold out. It might be at Simon. Maybe they have it. Okay, the 9x12 sticky mat's out of stock. Do the notify me thing, and they get things in very quickly. So you could do it at either one. Okay, so this is the spinner mechanism that you make with this big die right here. And this, nobody sees this big thing except for the little sentiments. So off screen, to save time, I used some of the sentiments here, and you stamp in. Do you see how the die makes little oval impressions? You just want to stamp anything that'll fit in those oval impressions. So I alternated between hello, I love you, I miss you, and some hearts. You could use color. You could use tiny little die cuts. You can go through your stash and find little sentiments. I know Lawn Fawn has a lot of great stamp sets that have tiny little messages that go in speech bubbles, but they would work here, okay? So any tiny little sentiments, look through your stash and see what you got. And there are some here. So I did that already. I just put it into my Misty stamping tool and stamped all those on there. So I cut this from white, stamped the sentiments, and I glued a button there in the center. The reason I glued it already is I used liquid adhesive and it was going to take some time to dry. Okay. Again, if you don't have buttons, you can use that stacked, you can stack those circle die cuts together for this and glue that right in the center. All right. So years ago when I built my craft room, I put a big window treatment. It's like a box. I don't know what that's called. I'm not a decorator kind of person. It's a giant thing that goes above my window in here. It's like 9 feet long, and it's covered with rainbow of buttons. And I used some buttons that Crafters sent me. I used some buttons that I have. I've used some buttons that were my grandma's, and I put them on there, and I have some left over. You couldn't really have a private conversation when your phone was attached to the wall. Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is an old fashioned. Lila doesn't know what this is. Lila, this is a phone.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. She does. Good news. All right. Now, remember, we also have this dial here. This right here It says 7 and 8 there. That means it's the top. You just are going to cover this with the circle die. There's a circle die that goes right there. I think I'll add a little heart to the center of that. Cornice, thank you. I'll put a picture on Instagram later. Somebody's got to remind me though. Valance, cornice, box valance. That's what it is. Because it's like a big white with molding, and then the inside is all rainbow buttons. Anyway, it took forever. A long time. Okay, so all of these dies are included. So now I've got my pieces. Now there's this die. This is where we say Concord and Ninth is brilliant. So there's this die here that we are going to use to get the positioning just right for everything to work. So let me get, let me think about this. There are a few ways to do this. Hold please. Okay, let's just take white cardstock. So this is a piece of white cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I keep my favorite white cardstock, which is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, pre-cut in this size right here under my desk so I can grab it easily. One of the best time savers I ever did. So I'm grabbing a piece of that. And then this die, it says on here, it's hard to see on the camera, placement edge here. And there's a little error. Placement edge, or place card edge here. So you place the card edge right on this edge, along this edge, okay? And then run it through your die cut machine and it'll give you the right placement. So watch, that top edge, I'm just gonna line up with the bottom of my card panel. See how the bottom, just line it up right there, right up against the edge. Let me get it just right. Why are things hard to line up when people are watching? Okay. Yeah, it's an interesting die. You are right. And when you first see it, you're like, what the heck? But then you'll be like, oh, it took a lot of our thinking out of it. We don't have to think so hard. So you can see the edge is right along there. All right. Yes, Michelle, I did. When we moved here, so it was like 7 or 8 years ago. It was actually the designer who helped me plan my room. It was her idea to do that. Victoria asked, what is my pre-cut paper? What size? 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, because that's what I use most. However, I do have over on the side some that's cut to 5 by 7 size and some other things. But the ones right here, 4 1/4 by 5.5, because that's what I use most. Do you recommend Concord and Ninth ink cubes or full-size ink pads? I recommend the full-size ink pad. When an ink, they have a foam ink pad. And when it's a foam ink pad, I prefer a bigger, the bigger size instead of the cube. Personal opinion. But if you just want to try them, you can. Foam ink pads generally need to be re-inked more often. So using the full-size ink pad, I find to be to hold more ink. I don't know, that's just, okay. All right, so now let me take this off and show you what this silly looking die does. It creates a little hole and a little speech bubble in exactly the right spot to make this work. I will post a picture of my valance somehow and my Instagram stories. So be sure to check there. I'll try to do it after this if my young person here has better memory than me. Okay, so this could be a taller or a bigger piece, whatever you want, but I'm just experimenting. We're trying this today. Okay, so now here's the cool thing. I've got my spinner, and watch, I'm gonna put the spinner behind it so that the button goes through the window. Okay, this should have been color cardstock. Don't you think? I'm gonna do color cardstock. Hang on. Let me I'm not gonna like the color I'm doing. I'm not gonna love this color, but it's what I could grab quickly that will go with the gray. I think this might be little too dark for this, but I had this cut and ready to go. Oftentimes when I grab a full piece of cardstock, this is something that has been a game changer for me. Now I gotta find that die. Where'd I put it, Lila? Darn it.
Did you put it in there?
Where'd I put it?
In here? Did you put it in here?
No, I didn't. Somebody will say, oh, you put it off to the left, or you put it off to, oh, I put it right here. A game changer thing that I did a while ago was if I take a full piece of cardstock, I got a bunch behind me, and I only use a little bit of it, I cut 4¼ by 5½ inch pieces from it. So I could have some big pieces that are already cut. And then the littler scraps I put in drawers. So I have up on in my cabinet in rainbow order a bunch of cardstock pieces that are already cut to the size, so that I use them more than my drawer where all the little scraps are. I tend to go for these bigger pieces. I showed that in a video once, but all right. Okay, so this is actually I think this is likely Concord and 9th Dove is my guess. I just think this is going to show better because now you can see the color. So now, see, I've got my button here. Remember, you could use the stacked die cuts instead. And I place this around it. So now what happens is as this will spin, the sentiment will change, okay? Yeah, I could have, Brenda, you know, I could have ink blended this, but I thought this would be faster, but it turns out I just talked my way through it. Okay, so there we have it right on there. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to take this, if I remember this correctly. Yeah, I could have ink blended. You're all right. See, I can only think so much when I'm doing this, but I'll save that for another one. Make sure that's lined up. So I'm going to put this right so that the circles line up. Let me press that down really well. Yeah, isn't this a cute interactive die set? And I think you could do different little sentiments in there. I think it'd be fun also to print a photo, really tiny photo, so when you turn it like a photo pops up. It'd be fun. I don't know. But this is super easy. So now we've got that. We can add this up here with this, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, I think we'll do that for now, just so we can see it all. What is the green tape you're using? Okay, so this is Easy C tape. I don't think it's in the description. Remember I said, I don't know if I like that there, but that's good enough. I'm just playing today. You're right, Sharon. If you look at the top of my YouTube description, there is something where it says, click here for visual supply list. It has live in the URL. If you go there, there'll be thumbnails of everything that I use. And you can see them. So you can like look through there and see them all. There will be more on that list than is listed in the description below, because the description below only lets me put so much. So I encourage you to go click that link, and it'll show you all of what I'm using today. And it'll also show you how to get a free gift over at Altenew and some sales. And also it'll show you the different events I was talking about and things like that. Okay, so you can see, like, you could stamp just calling to say. I think in the future I might stamp just calling to say on there, or you could do it underneath here. Lots of things you could do. You could also put a hello die cut somewhere, but let's finish.
So we said, is there a sentiment that says one rainy day, two rainy days?
Yes, that would be fun. Yes, we get by, but yes, you're right. Okay, it's called Easy C tape. Easy C tape, also known as highlighter tape. I find it to be a fantastic tape for holding things together when I die cut, because it never tears paper. I've never had it tear paper. If it happens to leave residue behind, which sometimes happens, I use an adhesive eraser to remove it. I just take it out of the container it comes in, and I put it into a tape dispenser. This is just like this is a Scotch brand. So what you normally would put Scotch tape in, I put it in there. I also put my Spellbinders tape, which I like when I'm doing foiling and masking. I have that in one of these. And then I have clear tape, or clear Scotch tape too. But this is what the Easy C or highlighter tape comes in. I just take it out of there and I put it in here.
Is there a difference between the Easy tape and the purple you used to use?
The purple tape that I used to use was from Thermoweb, and they stopped making it the same way. So now I use this, and it works really well. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this over my button. It's not glued. It's moving freely there. I'm going to start in this position here, and now this will get glued on top of the button. Now the problem is we're going to have to wait for that to dry. Oh, crud. I'm already at 2 hours. Maybe I should have used something that would dry quickly. Oh well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I put glue on the top of the button, and I'm going to place this right on top. And see, there's these little etch lines. Can you see those 4 etch lines that help you to line this up centered? Okay, so let me press that down Doobie-doo. Now I'm gonna put something heavy on that. Doop. And now while that's drying, I can answer a couple questions.
Okay. What kind of lighting do you have in your craft?
What kind of lighting? Sharon, funny you ask, because I just changed it. So I built this because I knew I would be doing videos in here when we moved to this house. I have can lighting, but none of it is directly above my work surface. Actually, there are can lights right above my work surface, but I have them on different switches so I can turn them off because that would put a reflection on here. So I have can lights behind me and around the sides. Then in front of me, I had really big, pretty hanging lights. I had to take 3 of those down and put up big flat lights for doing lives like this because I needed better lighting. So they're not as attractive, but they're functional. Lisa, do I ever do a craft room tour? I did at my old house, and a lot of my room is the same. It is a big undertaking to do a room tour, so I haven't done one since in this new, but it's very similar. I should do it. It's on my list of hoping to someday do.
What kind of adhesive did you use on your rainbow buttons?
The adhesive I used on my rainbow buttons, I don't remember what it was called. It was like this thick, it was gross, thick, clear glue. I don't remember what it was called. It was what my decorator recommended, and it was nasty. But it stayed, so I guess it worked, right? Let me show you. Catherine asked, how small of a piece of cardstock do you keep? I usually don't keep anything bigger than or smaller than this. Sometimes I will, and then I can use small die cuts with it. But let me show you. I told you, I'll get one of these down. Oh, let's hope everything doesn't come falling. So I told you before, like if I grab, like say I was making this card, and I grab a piece of Aqua Sky cardstock from behind me, a big sheet, and I only use a little bit of it. From it, I cut as many pieces, usually 2 or 3, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have it ready to go. And so these were all left over from big full sheets. And I used to put whatever was left over into a drawer, and I would never go there because it's in a drawer. So now I cut those bigger pieces into 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I keep them like this in a cabinet, and I can just go through it, and I have a whole rainbow of them. The problem with that is I don't know for sure what every color is, and so that's hard in videos because sometimes people ask, but I do know this is Simon Says Lake because some things I remember. So anyways, that's what so these were actually would have gone in my scrap drawer in the past, but now I reach for that. So that's what I reach for some of the die cutting you saw me do a lot of. Anne-Marie, this is almost dry, but Anne-Marie said, E6000 glue. Oh man, that stuff is strong. Anne-Marie said, do you, Jennifer, or Not So Crafty Mike edit? I edit my own videos. I don't feel like anybody else could do it because when I'm creating, I'm thinking about what I need to edit out, what I want to make sure to keep in, how much time I need to describe something. So editing is something I got to do, and I do the voiceover. So I wish there was an editing fairy because editing and voiceovers are by far the most challenging thing. So watch what we've got here. This little thing spins. Isn't that fun? Now, if you don't want it to spin, you could skip the die that created those holes in the background and just glue this together and have a phone. Empty Nest Scrapper said, did you use a basement space for your craft room or extra room in the home, in the house? Our house is like a walkout basement, and the person we bought it from was a professional football player. So this was his workout room. It was walls and ceiling mirror with a black workout like matte ground, and I tore it up and put it in a craft room. And I did tell him I did it. He forgave me. But anyways, so yeah, it's the lower level, but right outside. So I've got a window, and there's a door right outside mine. And I like it because there's play stuff. There's a ping pong table right out here, so the kids can be around there.
I'm 11.
Lila is 11. She's 11. I wish she could hang out with Rachel. Wouldn't that be fun? She'll be 12 soon. Now let me finish putting this together, and I'll answer some more questions and let you all go. Now, one thing you could do here is just put glue, like a thin bit of liquid connect around the edge only. You want this to be able to spin freely, okay? I instead am going to use some foam strips because I like dimension. I would sing Dimension is Life like Laura, but you don't want to hear me sing. Do they want to hear me sing, Lila? Actually, no. So these are, let me tell you about these foam adhesive because it's one of my newest, My head's in the way. It's always in the way. This is one of my newest discoveries. These are from Waffle Flower, and they're actually on sale right now. If you go to my last blog post, there's information on, they have 20% off a bunch of products, but if you use my code, you get 25% off. And this is included. These are foam strips. They come in 1/8 of an inch and 1/16 of an inch, so thinner and thicker. But look at, they have narrow, they have wider, they have longer, and they even have a frame one on here. And I find they work really well. So I like the mix all on one. So that's what I'm using today. But you could use whatever foam tape. I'm just going to put it around the outside edge. What can opal be used for? I can't seem to find a use for it. It doesn't show up. Opal foil? Are you, KT, are you talking about opal foil? Opal foil is beautiful for like a tone-on-tone shine. It looks gorgeous like on a dark navy cardstock. It's just beautiful. So try that. Nina Classic Crest Solar White is the white that I use for almost everything. If I want something even stronger, thicker, I use Not Your Mama's cardstock, I think it's called, from Christopher Allen at Brutus Monroe. If I want something super smooth, I use the Hammermill. But no, there are a lot of great cardstocks out there. Gina K has beautiful white cardstocks. There's a lot of great options. So, but I use the Nina Classic Crest because I can get it in big reams. And then I'll buy a ream of it. You know, I think it's 250 sheets in their ream. And I'll cut half of it to these 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel. And I turn the other half into top folding note cards that are ready to go. Question, Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina. If you want to do both foiling and BetterPress, which should you do first? I would do BetterPress first, I think, because you can start building up your press plate collection. And then when you get the Glimmer machine, you can use them on that to foil too. Okay, so I put foam tape on the back, but made sure I didn't touch the spinning thing. Now I'm going to glue it onto that panel. Normally I would probably put this on a card base, but again, this is just experimenting. Now watch this. Oh my. Lila!
That's so cute.
Isn't that cute? That is so cute. Oh my gosh. Isn't that amazing? What's sad is I get excited and there's a delay before you all see it. So I get really excited and nobody else is when I do. But look at that. I will say, I experimented just a little bit before the video. I like how easily it spins with the foam tape, a little foam tape behind it. It can be thin foam tape, but you could also just use glue. It's fine. I also like that button in there. I thought that button made it work really well. Now, another thing I might do in the future is, remember how you stamp the numbers on this? Maybe die cut the hole here. So this is glued to the phone, so the numbers don't spin, just this shape spins. So maybe I'll try that later. Oh my gosh, come on. So you could put a little pink heart there at the center. You could get real colorful with this. You could make a black glossy cardstock phone. That would be fun. Oh, come along now. Look at that. And if you don't want to make it interactive, you could just have the phone be, glued together. Another thing, if you're really clever, you could do like a pull tab where you pull and the top of the phone comes up and reveals a sentiment. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with this. But this is the Concord and 9th Just Calling die set. Oh my goodness. I'm in love. Come on, Mike.
Yeah, it's great.
What enthusiasm.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes, I truly get excited about this stuff. This stuff is fun for me. This is the Concord and I Just Calling die set. And the stamp set's nice because it allows you to stamp the numbers. And then there's different little sentiments and icons you can stamp in there. Isn't that fun? So again, I would definitely probably use, I don't know, maybe, I think what would be fun is like, you could do maybe a pattern paper background and then the spinner white so that the sentiment's bright white there. And then I remember my own phone number, Penny. And then you could do like a rainbow cardstock strips on the phone or something. I don't know. There's a lot you could do. So much fun. And you know, a lot of people say, I'm looking for things that are different than flowers or butterflies. Well, there you go. You have a foam. Yes, my brother's enthusiasm about things is always overwhelming, unless it's underwhelming, unless it's sleeping. He likes to sleep. All right. Okay, so I am going to, I don't know, what should I do here? I'm going to answer a few more questions. I was just trying to think if I could think of something else to show. I'm going to do some stenciling while I answer questions. Okay, start from the top. Lila's going to hit me up with questions here, and I'm going to do some stenciling if I can find it.
The handmade for you BetterPress is not magnet well. It slips around. Should it?
Handmade for you BetterPress does not magnet well. What's the handmade for you BetterPress? Is it a press plate? If it's a press plate, I don't know, it should. They really hold onto there well. They really should, but you could probably put a little bit of tape runner, like a tape runner like this that can easily be rubbed away on the back to hold it there. But I don't know, it should hold. You might want to ask Spellbinders. I was gonna, oh, I forgot I also had these to use, but I want to use I'm looking for stuff. Hit me up with questions while I'm looking for my lost things.
Okay, this is a new one. Can you use the BetterPress plates to foil in the Gemini foil press and in the Gemini electric die cutting machine? Can you use them to emboss in the Gemini cutting machine?
I think the Gemini comes with that flexible embossing mat. If so, you could make an impression with press plates on it. You can't foil with a Glimmer machine on the Gemini, but there are foil machines out there that work with the Gemini. If that helps. What do they call them? Crafting gremlins? A crafting gremlin came and stole what I'm looking for. All right, hit me up again.
You read the top one.
Oh, I still have Zig real brush markers. How do they compare to Altenew? I answered that one earlier.
Okay.
You could use them for what I was showing, for sure.
For events, why can't... Oh, we already answered that one.
I tell you.
Do you still use the black mat that you did a video on a while back? Can't remember the name, but it stretches out easily.
Do I still use the black mat that I did a video on a while back? Can't remember the name.
Oh,
but
Mom.
Thank you, Carol. Oh, look at this. Coffee, glass of wine, beer for Mike, and juice or soda for Lila. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to dinner. We'll do that. I don't know what the black mat was that I used. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Maybe if you could tell me a bit more. Okay.
Is a gel press plate same as the sticky mat you're using?
No. So a gel plate is thicker and cushier. Now you could use it in some of the same ways, but this mat and the waffle flower mat that I have in my Misty stamping tool, they're made from stamp material. So if you've ever touched a gel press or gel plate, gel press, whatever, it's cushier. This feels just like a clear stamp because it's made from the same material. So it's a little more firm. I do know that Waffle Flower has a blog post where she compares their grip mat to a gel press. So that could help you. The Waffle Flower code, Mike, do you know what the Waffle Flower code was? Or can you put a link to my Waffle Flower post?
Okay. What is
Mike's going to add it.
What is the sandwich for Empress to fry and emboss with BetterPress plates?
Okay, so that she asked, how do you make an impression with a flexible mat and a BetterPress plate? I don't use my Empress for it because honestly, the embossing mat's in the other room, but you just follow their instructions for making an impression with a die and follow that sandwich and it should do it. I was going to use that Concord and 9th garden path and I can't find where I put it.
Where is it?
It looks like a garden path.
Oh,
I showed you all. You saw me have it. No, that's not it. See? Oh, I have a giveaway.
We're not done with
I know. I'm going to answer some more questions. Keep in mind, if you leave comments at the end here, if I ever shut up, I'm going to give away 2 sets of Altenew watercolor brushes to 2 different people. How do you prevent overfoiling of Glimmer press on small words? I find I get better results with small words if I tape them in place. If you saw me earlier, I used a piece of tape to create a hinge between the plate and the cardstock. If I tape it, I find I get better results with small little foil plates. Also, if you do get a little bit of overfoiling, just use an eraser to erase the excess. You can use like a sand eraser and you can erase it. Sometimes what looks like overfoiling around detail images is actually just loose foil, and if you use a paintbrush, you can knock that loose foil off.
Right, we're starting from all the way from the top.
Oh, come on. I'm going to try. I'm still looking for those stencils. Mike,
yeah.
Can you text Colin and tell him we're going to be there at 5:15?
Okay.
Because I can't do that. I lost it. I've lost him. I can't find him. I was going to do some garden path stenciling, but I should wrap it up anyway. So let's do these questions. Today I heard you can foil old brass stencils. Do you know if this is true? I have no idea. I don't have any to try it, otherwise I would. I answered Donna's question. Michelle, Paper Tray Ink used to have metal texture plates. They did for embossing subtle texture. Do you know if they could be used for foiling? I don't know, but that's a really good question. I wonder if they could be used for foiling or with the BetterPress system. I don't think I have one anymore, otherwise I would try it.
Favorite ink pads?
Sharon asked about my favorite ink pads for those who have a hard time color matching. If you like inks that you can get
Not that quick.
cardstock to match, is that what, if you want cardstock and inks that match, Gina K has great that match together. Concord and 9th has great that match together. If you're looking for inks that go together like a medium, like a light, medium, dark, and extra dark of the same color family, if that's what you're talking about, I recommend Altenew or Pinkfresh. They have nice little collections. Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated also comes in those kind of little families. When will you share your ink pad storage? Saw a glimpse on Instagram and I'm very intrigued. I think I have a little video, like a quick video in my highlight reels over on Instagram. When we built this craft room, the contractor, this young guy, he was like 24, brilliant guy. He came up with the idea to do like, okay, have you ever seen in a kitchen, sometimes they have like a narrow pull-out cabinets, narrow and tall, and on one side are little shelves for spices, on the other side are little shelves for spices. He made giant ones for me. So I have 3 giant ones, and on one side are organized more ink storage units, and on the other side, and they're mounted in there. So you pull this big thing out and there's ink on both sides. Normally I wouldn't need that many inks, but this is my job, so I have a lot, and that was a really good way to store a lot of inks easily. I have all my inks in there, all of the ones that I use. And I have a video over it in my highlight reel over on Instagram. Sand eraser, mono sand eraser. You can get it at Simon Says Stamp. It's called mono sand eraser. Another thing you can use are, oh, I thought I was, mono sand eraser. Another thing you can use are the paper sanders. These are also on Simon Says Stamp. These are great for like erasing a little bit of like little fingerprints and little boo-boos away. Next question, what is it?
Does the tape you use to secure the paper make an indent in your paper with the pressure of the die cut machine?
No, the Easy C tape is too thin. It doesn't leave an indentation. It's like the thickness of Scotch tape. So you know it's pretty thin. It's not going to leave an indentation.
Someone wanted to know about your hack to cut small sentiments.
My hack to cut small sentiments?
Yeah. I don't know.
All I do is, how do I cut small sentiments? I don't know. I don't know which hack that was. I've got a lot of them. When I do tiny, intricate sentiments, sometimes you need a metal shim in there to really cut that tight and small. But one of the things I do is, like yesterday, when I was cutting all of these little phone pieces for the phone, hold on my plate, I had room. I was cutting these pieces, but I had room, extra room. It wasn't filling up my plate. I did these at the same time because there was still room on my plate. I just had small pieces of white cardstock and black cardstock, and I just cut a bunch of sentiments at the same time. So now I have these sentiments ready to go because I had room. I was running it through my plate. I might as well just do extra die cuts. Maybe that's it. What is the biggest size card that can be made? Oh, I missed it.
That can be made in the BetterPress.
Well, you can see the BetterPress. This right here, these outer tick marks are 5x7. So you can see it's a little bit bigger than 5x7. Christopher, as a new card maker, welcome. And sorry, it's hard to escape. You'll never escape. I'm struggling with what card trimmers to consider. Do you recommend trimmer and get a score buddy, or trimmer and a score in one? Good question. What I recommend doing is, in December, I did a crafty gift guide video where I shared trimmers. I have 3 favorite trimmers. They're all from Tim Holtz. And you can look at those and see which fits your needs. One of them has a scoring tool included, like it can score, but I don't score with that. I usually use my Altenew scoreboard, which is also in that crafty gift guide video. So Christopher, you watch that. I think that might help you get a look at some of the really good high quality options out there and figure out which is best for you. Tony said, do you know if we need to have the BetterPress in order to participate in the Spellbinders weekend or event? I do not think so. I don't think so. But you know what? I'll ask. So next time I go live, I can tell you, but you can also email them. They have great customer service, but I would doubt it, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I know not all of the projects would require it.
Does ink stay wet enough?
Okay, Vicky said, do inks stay wet enough to emboss? Depends on the ink. This Obsidian Black is a pigment ink, so it stays wet long enough that you can emboss with it, and so does like a Versamark embossing ink. If you want to emboss with like a colored dye ink, sometimes if you're fast enough, you stamp it and put the powder on right away and heat set, it'll work. But another thing you can do is stamp first with the colored ink, then stamp again right on top of it with Versamark ink, then it'll be sticky enough for embossing. Is your BetterPress clear plate getting cloudy from pressing plates? It might be. I use mine a lot. It's maybe a little bit. I don't know, not much. Looks like it. Yeah, it looks a little bit, but I use mine a lot. And does the tape you use to serve? Oh, no, I already answered that one. Okay, I think I caught up. I'm going to wrap up because this has been long. You guys got to be tired of me.
Wait.
Oh gosh, there's more. Tips for cutting foil. Tip for cutting foil, definitely these. Spellbinders shears, they're in my description below. Amazing. Oh yeah, Laura, you're right. Oxide inks can be heat embossed. They're great for heat embossing.
What does GOAT stand for?
Greatest of all time.
GOAT stands for greatest of all time.
What size was the flower plate?
Flower plate. The first plate, it was like 4.5 by like, let me see. They're both the same size. 4.5 by 6. So it would fit almost 6. It would fit nicely at the center of a 5x7 card. Okay, I'm going to stop now. I'll be back so that I can answer more questions in the future. That was as much as I could squeeze in today. Thank you. I told you it was going to be random. I warned you. I just wanted to play and have you join me. Now that I know how to make that phone card. I'm gonna go make a bunch of those before I go to dinner. And I'm also gonna do more BetterPress with Yana's BetterPress plate and do more of these. That was fun. Gosh, isn't that fun? Oh, I just love it. Okay, so that's it for today. That was a long time. I hope you all got to create some. I hope that you had some time to craft, and I really appreciate you spending this time with me. Everything is linked below in my description. I'm going to announce winners. Everything is linked below in that live list down in the description. So at the top, there is a URL, a website address that has the word live in it. Click that, and it'll show you everything I talked about today, including some deals. But first, have you picked 2 winners? Yep. Okay, we picked 2 winners. One of you will get this Altenew Spring Garden watercolor brush set, and one will get the Winter Wonderland. I was playing with these just briefly at the beginning of the video, but I plan to go and use them some more. So who's the first winner of the Spring Garden set?
Ironically, we got Donna Townsend, the one who is actually...
Donna Townsend, the one who had all the brilliant questions. Donna, this is for you. I need you to go to my website. It's the Spring Garden. Go to my website, and there's an about me or contact me. Send me your name and your address, and we will get this out to you. And I always include other goodies in with it. And then the winner of this Winter Wonderland set is?
Melissa Moore.
Melissa Moore. So Melissa, please go to my website and email me your information so we can mail this to you. And there we go. I'm so glad you're all here today. I've got a little crafting to do before I go to dinner. Got to move fast. And I hope some of you craft. Somebody cooked. Hey, if you're going to have to cook, you might as well be talking about crafting while you're cooking. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And I will be going live tomorrow with Christopher Allen of Brutus Monroe. Not sure what time yet because we both are procrastinating. So we'll figure it out, and I'll put it on social media so you can find out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. I need water.